Good morning, Spirit Familia. My name is Estefania. I am on here because I have resisted in many, both unconscious and conscious ways to get on here. Because I know what I truly, truly want is to be on here, to share my story, to just show up for myself in this way. And by doing that, I show up for you. You know, we show up for each other. So if this is a sign that you're on that same, like if you've been thinking about getting on YouTube and you know, doing this and showing up, do it. You know, join me. If you have, you know, leave a comment below. You know, let me know. You're not alone in like doubting if you want to get on here and not having all the things to do it. Like right now, I don't have these microphones, you know, that which I plan to get. But like it's another reason, another day goes by and I'm like, okay, I'll do it when, and it's just like, you know what, no. And I saw 11:11 on the clock. Sorry, 1:11 when I said that. And it's just like, you know, just do it. And so this is me just doing it. This is me showing up in this way. This is me making my first of many videos because my idea is to, you know, really stick to this, to make a commitment and to show up despite the doubts, despite the self-sabotaging thoughts, despite the unreadiness. Like, who cares? Just, I want to be here. I want to join with you. I want to meet people who are on the same wavelength as me. I want to share my story. If it can bless, inspire, you know, light up something in their mind about whatever they're going through in their path, why wouldn't I do that? You know, why wouldn't we share our story? And this last year has really been activating for me. I feel there's been like an internal spiritual activation and elevation, a gift that is sort of like a responsibility in the most beautiful sense, not in a heavy laden sense, right? Like a gift that I've been given to share with the world, both spiritually, musically, in different aspects of my life. You know, I'm a mom. I'm on a spiritual path, a very devoted spiritual path. I was a musician my entire life, a singer, songwriter, performer. I was on stages all around the world. I traveled internationally to perform. I studied at Berklee College of Music. And so, yeah, like that was my life. That was my identity. And this is me stepping into a completely new space, not because the musical part is gone, no, but it has been retranslated, it has been revamped, requalified, and almost like upcycled in me, because it's time to allow the light that fills me to the brim to be shared, and to be shared with others who may be looking to receive it, may be wanting to find someone else who is on that path, you know, maybe searching to connect. And why not use these platforms with this mission, right? With this purpose, to connect deeper, to walk together, to heal together, to share our art, to share our creations. And rather than compete with each other or compare with each other, because each one is on his own book, in his own page, on his own chapter of their own script and story of what they have to live and go through to then become who they have to become, or rather unbecome everything they thought they were, so that they can identify who they truly are, which is pretty much what happened to me. You know, I thought I was this musical artist. I thought that that was my identity. I thought that that's who I was going to be. I thought that I was going to be fulfilled and at peace and happy and abundant in all the ways that we define abundance in the world, right? With many forms, in all the ways that I thought I would be happy and in a relationship and fulfilled and loved, and all those ways that we thought we'd be there, that I thought I'd get there, but as you can see, it's all about like getting to a point that's not here. It's about achieving something that's outside, that's always further. And I always, in my first interviews, after I had my like really deep spiritual awakening, it was life shifting. Yeah, it changed my career, it changed my identity, it changed everything. How I saw myself, how I saw life. And it all stemmed from how I learned to see God, to see Jesus. Those two specifically, I was always spiritual, but those two identities, those two terms, those two concepts, I had very hardcore resistance to, because I grew up in a Catholic school, and it just didn't sit right with me, all these concepts of like, God being all this beautiful, all encompassing, all loving, and then there's like this little devil who's somehow challenging him. Like, how is that possible? What, like, all encompassing, and then something going against it doesn't, that doesn't even like, what's the word? It's not even a paradox. It's like it's incongruent completely. And so it just didn't make sense to me. And then, the history of the Catholic Church and a lot of other things. And I got to the point where I didn't even believe Jesus was real. Like, maybe he didn't even come. Maybe it was a whole, the conspiracy. I know he's laughing, and I'm laughing too. Because that's another story I'll get into, right? How I unboxed Jesus and unboxed God, and it unboxed my heart. And it unboxed my identity, and it made me who I am today. And I'm gonna get emotional because it's just, when you free yourself from these religious concepts and dogmas and institutions, not that any of them are wrong in and of themselves, but what they have taught has been based on an egoic premise, on a way of seeing life from an egoic foundation, from a foundation of separation, of guilt and fear and loss, which is the total, like, not even opposite of God. It's just it's the lack of God. So we're teaching God from a perspective of the lack of God. Anyhow, as you can see, these are big topics for me because it transformed my life to be revealed, to create that personal relationship, to open myself up to actually trying that out. But I'm going to get to the specifics of my story, of my testimony, of how that changed for me, of what showed up for me, of the process of brought me what I am now, which is a Course in Miracles teacher and student, forever student. And, artist, co-creator of this space, of love. And so, yeah, I basically was ready to let go of this identity that in my mind, or that the world, or society promised, the industry, the music industry promised, or I believed, right? It's not like it promised me. There wasn't this one person in the music industry who said, Stephanie, you are gonna be happy, fulfilled, and you're gonna have all of this. No. It's just like you see the examples on TV and you make these assumptions, you gather information, and you make like a theory, you'll make a statement, whatever you want to call it, and you decide this is what's going to make me happy. This is how I'm going to live my dream. I want to be a singer. I want to write. I want to perform in the world. I want to shine. We all want to shine, and we all should shine, because we all have a light that shines within us. And yet we mistaken the light of a stage for the light of the Spirit, which is the true light that shines within us. And so we live our lives in a misdirected, misperceived, we've misperceived what it is, what light is, what shining really is. And so we look for it in places where it really doesn't exist. And now I remember what I was trying to get to, but I went off on a little tangent with my story. But like I said, I'll give more details on that story. I'm going to make a video just of my testimony of my awakening, my spiritual awakening. But I remember that my first interviews after my spiritual awakening, the way I could explain where I was at was like in the music industry and in my career as a musician, as a performer, as a singer, you know, the whole thing. I was in a desert, and I thought that I could see that there was water, and that water was going to bring me life, and that water was going to feed my soul and, you know, bring me fulfillment, because I was going to reach the people and sing the songs that I loved, and I was going to inspire them, and I was going to get the dream that I knew I deserved to get. And every time I got to that, I got to a point and I started doing the things, and I started releasing the songs or signing contracts, you know, to songwrite for other people, whatever the steps were, making my first album. It always felt like, oh my God, I'm at the water. Like, this is it. I'm doing it. I'm like right at the edge. And then it would disappear. And it was just, it felt exciting until it didn't. And sometimes that was months. It took months. Sometimes it was just weeks. Sometimes it was immediate. Like, I thought that this was this. And so everything, it was always a mirage of the water, right? We know that. We've seen that in movies. There's like this idea that's there, and then when we get close, it's gone. Because it's never really been there. Because it's always been a concept in our mind. And that concept was born from what society taught us, from what TV taught us, from what our people around us, how it looked, right? And so it was just like getting to a moment where I felt like I'm a hamster in the wheel. I'm just going after this stuff. And I specifically felt like that in 2020. You'll hear this more in my specifics, like when I get into the specifics of my story. But just a quick, like, you know, summary. In 2020, I started releasing all these songs because I had time, because nobody was working, and you know, everybody was off, and it was great. But little did I know that it was actually going to reveal the truth of the wheel, of the hamster wheel, of the musical hamster wheel. And it's so interesting because as a musician, you think, oh no, I'm a musician, right? I'm living a different life than other people. Like, I'm living the true independent life. I'm free. I'm free from society. And it has nothing to do with society. It has everything to do with our mind. Where are you? What do you believe in? What concepts are you running after? I don't know if you guys can hear the construction. There's a little bit of construction. And it makes me become aware that I don't have those little microphones, which I'm gonna get so I can contain the sound. But I didn't want to let that be another reason why I wasn't gonna make this video today. This was gonna be my first video of many videos that I am committing to showing up, like I said, showing up here, despite the doubts, despite whatever comes up. And you should too. If this is something you've had on heart, you should absolutely do it too. Take this as a reminder, as a sign, as a synchronicity. Do it. Do you. Yeah. And so the light shines upon us to remind us that that's the truth. I love those things in nature when you get those synchronicities. That's the work of spirit. And that's the work of our mind connected to spirit, so that we can actually identify those signs. Because they're always there, but if we're not willing to like identify it. So yeah. Let me gather my thoughts. All of this was to say that these concepts were in my mind. I built them and I put them outside of me and believed that the world would provide it in some way, in some form. Hold on, let me move this over here a little bit. And so I got to a point where I was done. I realized in 2020, I did all the things. I released all the songs, made music videos, and And I just got to the point where I was like, this is not what I want. This is not what I signed up for. And now it's been 5 years. And now the sun's getting bright. It's been 5 years. Maybe I can move over this way. Hold on. Yeah. It's been 5 years. And I'm ready. I'm ready to show up in a new way. I already have been in my circles in my life, but I know I felt motivated to come on YouTube in a new way. About 2 years ago, on this same channel, I started doing spirit remixes, which was like the beginning of me opening myself up musically to life, because I stopped music for almost 2.5 years. Stopped doing it completely, and I needed to step away. My identity was so ingrained in my musicianship, in being an artist, that I needed to really let go of it completely. And I didn't do it I didn't force myself to do it. I just felt it naturally fall away. And then about 2 years ago, it started to come back. I started to listen to music again. I started to feel my body move to it, like I was interested. I'd stopped being interested. And I knew it was a gift to allow me to completely release that so that I could find myself with a capital S. Stefania, not the Stefania, the identity, but the spirit behind Stefania. And that's the spirit-led Steph. So I let this character, this persona, this body be led, be used, be a channel for the spirit, for the mind of love, for Jesus to use. And that in and of itself, for me to come on here and say that, man, I had so many judgments about that. Even if it was like revealed to me the truth about it, I was so scared to mention Jesus. Oh my God, Jesus. Because in some ways, and these are my own judgments, right? I'm a fundamentalist. I just became a Christian and all these things. Which, how many beautiful Christian people do I know, loving, dedicated, devoted, with good intentions and good hearts, just like anything else in life. So one thing doesn't define the other, but I definitely had a lot of judgments, and I couldn't say that before. But I also didn't have the clarity to explain my path in discovering and rediscovering Jesus, in reclaiming God, because that's what we do. We reclaim God. God is no longer the concept that was given to us in church or in school or by a dogma and an institution ridden by guilt and fear. It is now a concept that lives within us. It is now something that is moving, that we have direct relationship to if we want to, if we're open, even if we're just curious. That's how it started for me. So I'll leave you guys there. Thank you for being here. This is just the beginning. May this find you whenever it is it needs to find you. And may you be blessed today. May you expect miracles, because miracles are a natural order of things. And I'll be bringing more about that, more about what I'm doing now, how I'm integrating music. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I have spirit remixes here, so if you're curious about those, basically I was led. I was led by the Spirit to start to, it's getting hot, it was cold and now it's, whoa. I was led by the Spirit to start to translate, or sometimes change the lyrics, but sometimes no, just popular songs, that we all know, and just hear them, give the perspective, the spiritual perspective on it, as if Spirit was singing the song to us, or a conversation otherwise. We're singing it back to Spirit, to life, to God. And so check them out. If you're curious, there's a bunch of different ones with different messages. And I hope to use this avenue to continue to share my art, share whatever inspires me, and not be defined by certain schedules or, boxes. I'm not here to box anybody in or box myself in anymore. I did that enough in genres and in things, I'm done with that. I'm here to be unboxed completely. And so I'll take this space and my website, which I have to revamp and update and stuff. So please be patient with that. But I'll take that. I'll take this and yeah, this whole, start as not a sign, but as like a little fire, a spark to go back to my writings and maybe share things that I'm doing. I'm just gonna let myself be inspired and be led. That's literally what it's about. That's why this page is called what it's called, Spirit-Led Steph, because that is what I truly want. That's what I truly want for myself and for all of us, because it is what ultimately will lead us to happiness, right? To surrender over this idea that we know what we want, that we know how to figure it out, that we're in control. And to take a step back and, humbly, and let ourselves be shown, let spirit surprise us. So let yourself be surprised. Thank you again. No more rambling from me. And until our next video. See you. God bless.